At last we left our players. They had just interrogated a low-level criminal in the much-denied Thieves Guild of the Ogre Magi, in the Self-Ruling Empire of the Ogre Magi, in the town Kotinoi. A lot of words, I gotcha. They determined that the Sith Lord Mechanist, Ander, had absconded with the sword and was now hightailing it back to Empire space. The players quickly assembled together and got a ship, the Ogre Charles, to give chase. The ship is owned by the family whose sword the players attempted to reacquire, and run by a bunch of elephants people called Laxo, or Loxo. My pronunciation is not perfect, of course. Who, in addition to having arms and legs and being bipodal and looking like elephants, they additionally have, instead of one trunk, two trunks, which have opposable hands at the end, which they use to wield their weapons in preference to using their actual hands. Daenes is a little off-put by this. She much prefers bird people to people and people to weird people. Nishant, of course, fascinated, being the oracle that he is, and the others seem to not truly care. So the players set off on their way. Before the session took place, I had a talk with one of my players, the guy who plays Peter, and he said that he couldn't find a reason that Peter would want to stay in a crusading setup, that is, going out and finding things to deal with in the world, when his whole family and his belief thus far is that he would be a good counselor, one who advises. But he also believed that after Peter had had some time advising, he would want to go back to crusading, being struck by such wanderlust. So, we devised to bring in his secondary character so that he could retire that character for a short period of time before we bring him up. I found this acceptable, and so we carry on with that. On their way, the players come across the shipwreck of several Neogi ship. You may recall the players faced Neogi before, right after leaving El Qadim, I believe. And those are the eel, spider, wolf slavers of space. Spell jamming is weird. Never forget that. But embrace it, as I have. They find the wreckage of that ship, and find in that wreck, after a little bit of searching, a bug man with the tabard of a Jedi over him. They have faint recollections of seeing him, retcon Dan, at the graduation. He is brought aboard the ship and cared for, but being unconscious this time, since I don't want to bring in a new character and have one of my PCs having two characters. I will introduce him later in more detail. So the players eventually catch up to the Mechanist ship, because he had to open the portal to get into the phlogiston. Phlogiston being this misty, prismatic-colored substance between crystal spheres, which are like galaxies. Also to know about the phlogiston, if you light a flame in it, it gets bigger. If you light a torch, you're going to burn your face off. You do a fireball spell, you're going to blow up a ship. It's jolly good fun. It's not. It's not fun at all. Any flame, bad. Bad flame. No good. But I get ahead of myself. The players attempt to attack it from the behind, damaging its engines, because it seems to run on some non-magical means, and eventually slow it down enough that they can board. Boarding, they find that the top deck catapults are all automated in construction, and quickly remove bolts and pieces, and I believe literally one of them threw a wrench into one of them, thus throwing a wrench to the works. In response to this, the ship's access hatch opens up, and several bug-looking mechanical beings climb out. Players give them a wide berth, and the bugs ignore them as they go about repairing the damaged catapults and ballistae. The players duck down inside and investigate the next floor, finding a small reading library of relevant literature, such as how gear's working, stuff. They also see the control for the driving mechanism down here being continuously serviced by more of those bug creatures and several crab-like beings. Players continue down to the next floor, having no encounter with these beings since they don't intend to interrupt them. And they find a library of much less relevant books, Harlequin romances, and other pastime reading. The players meander through, doing a bit of cat and mouse game with the automated guards, more the crab people, who are walking through the halls, make sure they never interrupt their passage so as to not bring on an encounter. They eventually make it to the end of the hallway and barge into what they have eventually narrowed down to be the workshop of the Mechanist. They encounter him, a man dressed in, well, a leather jacket, slacks, a tool belt, and a strange curved sword with a chain-like blade attached to it, and a large handle. They recognize the sword from description as the one of the Ryoshi family, who was stolen from. They set out attacking him, but are also attacked by these animated suits of armor. Night Haunts, I believe they're called? Though I removed their flying ability, because I didn't see any reason for a mechanized, automated, mechanical, whatever you want to call it, version to have that ability. The players quickly knock out the mechanical guards, who form a wall between them, and then have a bunch of repair bots come in and try to fix those. And the players smack the repair bots while fighting Ander, who has been reduced fairly well in his hit points at this point, not being terribly proficient in his own constructed chainsaw blade. When the players attack the crab beings respond by attacking with their flamethrowers. I make mistakes. In life, in gaming, I wasn't the first one to realize that we're in the phlogiston, and like I explained a little earlier, the phlogiston and flame don't mix well. The flame weapon did massive damage, blew a gigantic hole in the ship. All the players saved versus breath weapon as if it were a fireball spell, ducked behind stuff. Peter did a flying leap, grabbed onto Ander, trying to stop his escape, as he seemed to have some method. And the two of them barreled out of the ship through an escape hatch. Though I informed the players that Peter did not survive that. He was quite well immolated. Which, I don't do a party player death. I tried to think of several ways of bringing him back, but the player just looked at me and said, "He's dead. I get it. It happens." Which brought a whole weight off of me, but still kind of feel bad about it. So the players reacquire the katana which was left behind, now being cleared away by the explosion from its additional accoutrement, bring it back to the ship of the Ryoshi, the Ogre Charles, and with it return to the self-ruling empire of the Ogre Magi. With the weapon recovered from the Sith and the name of the Jedi cleared, the players return victoriously to the Enclave, where they see Vincent in a even more dour mood than he was before. He says to the players, after a great pause for dramatic effect, which didn't really work, "The Empire has declared that they wish to advance on the planet Hoth. We are at war." And that is where I ended the session. So yeah, fun times, player death, new Mantis characters being added, who I'll introduce to you next time. Bye.